Okay, well, while it's going live, I need to change my title here to Split is coming. GME Split announced with an exclamation point, and then put it is going to be 4-1. Okay. Save. Okay. Title's changed. There we go. Hey everybody. Well, just before I went live came the big announcement. The stock dividend is going to be a 4-for-1 on the 22nd, apparently, is when it's going to start trading. So we have 2 weeks. 22nd is... got a little more than 2 weeks. 16 days. Alright, so... woo! Gonna make for an interesting summer now. We've got all sorts of fancy stuff going on here. Okay, so my original topic was just gonna be like, hey, we have nothing but bad news again. There's no good news coming up, but for some reason the stock market is like, I'm okay with that, which doesn't make any sense because bad news means less money for everyone. But now we got the 4-for-1. So for every 1 share of GameStop you have, you're going to receive an additional 4 shares as a dividend. So if you have 100 shares, you will now have 500 shares because you just received 400 extra ones. If you got 10 shares, you'll now have 50. If you got 50 shares, you'll now have 250. So the price right now is what, 130? All right, are we closed? 125? Where are we? I gotta go in here and do the look-see. Whoops. We are currently trading at 122. So, 25 to 30 a share at this current price. We'll probably get some FOMO. And my guess is that the week before they're going to announce the GME Marketplace. So we'll have GME Marketplace probably sometime next week. We'll get a little FOMO and good news from that. Plus, there'll be the 4-for-1 coming the following week. So we might see some price action happening. Wish I had bought some calls today. Oh well. So, yeah. How about this? Okay. Woo! Alright. Yeah, so anything else? Is that it? The show's over? Is that all we got? Okay. Enric, ME, Houston, where you been? Well, it was a holiday on Monday, and started back up at the gym again to get like buff and handsome, and I worked out a little too long yesterday and ended up falling asleep. And then my Twitter account is in Twitter jail at the moment because I told some racists that we should kill all Confederates, and apparently Twitter doesn't like that. So you won't see me on Twitter for another 6 days. Oops. But yeah, here we go. All right. Andrew Stewart says Sri Lanka is going crazy. Yeah, Sri Lanka is out of fuel. They're out of fuel. They're encouraging everyone to grow their own food because they don't have enough food to feed everybody. They're trying to get the IMF to give them a bailout. India has given them a little bit of bailout. It's like, we're not going to give you any more. Sri Lanka is in bad shape. Probably the worst shape they've been in since the end of World War II, perhaps. And that's considering that they were in like a civil war for 30 years. They're in really rough shape right now. So that's why we did that charity for them the other month. They got no food. They got no fuel. They have no way to move anything around. It's going to take a long time to get everything spooled back up again. F1 Sushi. Why still green? Every bear market has muscle memory from the previous bull run. It takes time and failed rallies to take a market to its final inevitable bottom. This bear is still young. I agree. I think there's still 50% to go. We got a long ways to go. Okay. Supreme Pig Roach. Thoughts on Gavin Newsom potentially running in 2024? I think anyone announcing they're going to primary Biden is going to destroy anyone's chances of winning in 2024. Like, Biden has to be like, I'm out, for any of that to matter. If anyone primaries him, it's going to be like 1980. It's going to be like any other time someone's been primaried, and it just destroys the entire party. So probably bad news. Plus, Gavin Newsom, like, I don't know. The dude was married to Don Jr.'s coke-addled girlfriend. That just tells me that he's got terrible taste. So, maybe someone better than Newsom. Okay. First name, last name. Houston. If you fart into a jar and seal it, take it to space and open the jar and enter space, where do the particles go? Out of the jar. So that jar is under pressure. It's under 1 atmosphere of pressure, and the minute you open it, it wants to equalize with the rest of space. So it just goes hra. So think of it like, if you ever painted a motorcycle frame or something like that, you put the sucker into a vacuum chamber and you suck out all the air until this a molecule's like pong, pong. You have almost as pure vacuum as you can make, on the surface of the Earth. And then you have this basically pill of paint you release, and it goes whack, and all it wants to do is expand equally everywhere to equalize itself, because the molecules have energy in them, and it just immediately coats the surface of everything because it's just trying to get away from itself. That's sort of what would happen with a fart and jar in space. Is you'd open that thing, crack, and it goes, and then that would be it. It would immediately try to equalize itself with the giant vacuum of space, and probably no other particle of fart would see another particle of fart ever again. They'd bounce off each other one last time, and then they would just continue on their way, whatever trajectory they were heading on, until they hit something else. That's what happened with a fart in space there. First name, last name. Okay. Ed, if cost to borrow max hit 485%, what would the AMC price be? Well, if you're borrowing, and you're borrowing at that max cost to borrow, AMC is what, $13? 485%. Where did my calculator go? There you are. Let's go to the calculator. Oh, son of a bitch, I just realized I forgot to turn it off. Oh. I trapped myself. I was scratching a monkey butt and saying what a good monkey butt she was while the intro was playing, and I forgot to hit the button. Crap. Anyway, now that I know I'm doomed myself to friggin'... Alright, let's say it's $13 times 4.58. So $59 is what's costing. If you are borrowing shares at that rate, just to short it, it's costing almost $60. That's not too shabby, right? So that means in order to win, you have to be able to sell the shares for more than that. What I think is happening when you have cost of borrows like this is it's emergency cost of borrows. That they naked shorted at $20 or $15 or whatever, and they got to the T35 and they couldn't find anyone to swap with, and they go, oh crap, we have 3 hours to borrow enough shares to cover this, or else we're in default and we're gonna get liquidated. So they find someone, who's like, yeah, I'll lend it to you for $60 a share, and you go, crap, okay, and just eating up whatever you have just to stave off margin calls. So this is just them digging a hole. Did you see that Revlon is over 1,000% right now? So if you're borrowing a share of Revlon, you're borrowing at over 1,000%. Just the cost to borrow. This isn't the penalty of your yearly interest rate on that borrow. That's just the down payment is $60 for AMC at the max cost to borrow, and for Revlon it's $60 for a $5 stock, man. So, yeah. Oops. It's rough. Okay. You guys are gonna just rejoice. And I know I can't do anything about it. I can't click that button. I'm stuck. Either I'm stuck in small Houston forever with the calculator, or I can go to big Houston and the intro is gonna play again. There it goes. You're such a cute little dog. And I scratch you and I forget to turn off the button. And you go turn off the button right now. Turn off the button, turn off the button, turn off the button. There we go. Button is off. Scott Pollan, next one, taking bets on 1, 2. You won, Scott Pollan. William Morgan, opting for gamma knife surgery. Hey, if we're in the future, you may as well use future tech, man. So good. You might become the Hulk after this, right? He got bombarded with gamma rays. Sneak a spider in. All right, Scott Pollan, 20 degrees north, 11 west. We are. Wait, you're trying to send me to? Nope, Scott Pollan, nice try. That is the Eye of Africa. I know that one. We're not going there, Scott. We're not going there at all. I am not going to fall for that. That is definitely the Eye of Africa. And we're not doing it. We're not doing it. Nice try, Scott. I recognized it. Oh, crap. There's super chats. I missed super chat. 40-ounce Oracle. Dividend, baby. Let's go. Whee! Also, what's up with the weird measurements that are found in the Great Pyramids? Coincidence. Weird measurements? I don't know. You may have to expand on that. I know the pyramids are exactly east, west, north, south. They're lined up that way. Outside of that, I don't know what measurements you're talking about. So you may have to expand on that a little bit. Daniel Batchelor, thank you for the super chat. You can ask a question too. You're more than welcome to. Okay, where were we? We were at Scott Pollan trying to get me to go to the Eye of Africa, which I did not do. I recognize that. I know those numbers. All right. Oh, the Daniel Bachelor, $5 a super chat, a second intro. That's why. Oh, thank you, Scott. Or thank you, Daniel. Okay. No third intro. Intro's off. We're good. Drew went to go lease a new Honda Civic. They wanted $5,000 down and $515 a month. Then when I told them that's ridiculous, they said be realistic. I said, yeah, get a used one, which was the same price. Don't worry, Drew. In like 3 months, car prices are going to come crashing down. We're already seeing like massive defaults. Something like 18% of new cars are defaulting right now. The prices were really unrealistic for new cars and used cars last year due to the semiconductor shortage. And now that people don't have any money, those leases that they signed and those loans they signed, they can't afford them anymore. Not with the rising gas prices. So the used car market prices are starting to crash down. Stock is starting to build up at dealerships. So if you just wait a couple of months, you'll be able to get in there just fine. Squamps, I attempted to join you in Twitter jail. Most of my Twitter crimes involve the word diarrhea. Also, Quartz is piezoelectric, so I think that's cool. Yeah, you can like shoot energy into it, and it will do some glowing. Where are you going? Where are you slithering off to, monkey dog? Where are you going? Huh? Where are you going? It's the world's slowest get off the ottoman ever. Yeah, so you can see some cool videos of quartz, like people drilling into quartz and it glowing. It's pretty nifty. Okay, William Morgan, stock will trade on a split adjusted basis starting July 22nd. Dr. Dog Toggler, we bought out my wife's lease at the end of last year based on terms set in 2018. Yeah, I was just actually reading Consumer Reports, and they were suggesting that anyone who's on a lease right now, just buy the car because it's cheaper than anything else you could do. Because all the terms were set 3 years ago, right? So 3 years ago, we didn't have a semiconductor shortage causing the price of cars to go up 50%. And it's much cheaper to buy out your lease and purchase the vehicle that way than it is to get a new lease or buy a new car. So listen to Consumer Reports. They know what they're talking about. Okay. Bonnie R., when is bear season over? Next year sometime, perhaps. Dog Toggler date of record is 7/18. The 18th is going to be 2 Mondays from now. Okay, so 2 Mondays from now is date of record. So get all of your shares you can by the 18th and maximize your ability to get that 4 for 1. Andrew Stewart's got different coordinates for me. All right, Andrew. 35 north, minus 111. This is in the desert somewhere, American West. Oh. Ah. Why did you copy? Control V. There we go. All right. Oh, I forgot to put it on the screen. Go like that. Turn on Google Earth. All right, we are at Meteor crater in Arizona. This is an actual crater caused by meteorite. About 50,000 years ago, something perhaps the size of, I don't know, a car smashed into northern Arizona here, not too far from Winslow, and blasted this sucker out. It's a cool place, man, real cool place. So I highly recommend, if you have a chance to go visit Meteor Crater, do it. It's one of the best astrobleams that you can see with the naked eye on the planet. It's awesome. It's very cool. It's a little visitor center here. I think you can hike down inside still. Yeah, the trail's here. You can hike down inside and go to the bottom. And it's got the eventful name of Meteor Crater. Pete Donnelly, Bed Bath & Beyond rising use in the GME and after hours, but not AMC. Thoughts? Because I don't know. The common denominator is Ryan Cohen, and we talked about this on Friday. Bed Bath & Beyond does $12 billion a year in sales. Billion with a B. And yet you can buy the entire company for $500 million right now. It makes no sense. It is basically where GameStop was in April of 2020, where GameStop did $5 to $6 billion a year in sales, but you could buy the entire company for $200 million. I bet Ryan Cohen wishes he had dumped his $120 million or $80 million into GameStop in April 2020 rather than waiting till August. And I bet there's a big part of Ryan Cohen probably buying Bed Bath & Beyond right now. I wouldn't doubt this if we see some 13Fs come out where he's making more purchases of a Bed Bath & Beyond. I mean, he's got enough wealth he could buy the entire company on the market right now at this price. Guitar Stuff. What are the odds of a share recall? If we see it, it might start next week. There are going to be institutions that are going to want those 4 shares, and they're not going to want to pay the taxes on the cash equivalent they get from hedge funds. They're going to want those shares because it's going to save them 35% taxes. So if I were a lending institution, I would ask for all my shares back now. No, that meeting got canceled. So quit telling me about it. So where are we now? Yep, GameStop is flying high. Just went up quite a bit. Bed Bath & Beyond is doing the exact same map on the chart. Yeah. So, all right. Be big, worthless. But yeah. Where was I? Okay. There's that. People for one. Date. Andrew Stewart just poked holes in my favorite shirt. Don't do that. Unless you're like pinning a cool button to it. Lebu Luke. RC Cryptic 741. 7th month 4-1. Sure. The numerology seems to make sense. Bones. It's coming from GameStop itself. There is a press release that came out, so it's out there. Okay. Sad Boy Incorporated. Houston, what's your favorite comic book? Gru. Gru is my favorite comic book. I was a former Mad magazine writer. Made a barbarian named Gru who's just a bumbling idiot, and I love that comic. I also love Ralph Snart. Ralph Snart was really good too. Gru and Ralph Snart. Those are my two favorites. Okay. Alright, everyone's doing lots of cheering. Scroll past the cheering. Ed, why do people say happy birthday to Houston? I honestly have no idea. It started sometime last year. Everyone just started wishing me happy birthday constantly. I think it had been my birthday, and everyone thought the next show was my birthday, and because of that, they're confused that the next one was my birthday, and then they just started wishing me happy birthday constantly. And so, pretty much every day of the year is my birthday, and there you go. That's why. Okay, and Jersey's got something for me. Where you got me, Jersey? 2454. Saying, World on Wheels, drop on the spot. There are several shots around. Jump on the mini-map. Come on. Click. Click! There we go. Bam. I gotta put a space in there. And go like that. Can't understand. Oh, that's because... that doesn't make any sense. Okay, go there. What? Why are you... Okay, we're in Dubai. Oh, you guys can't see. Huh. We're in Dubai. World on Wheels. Drop on the mini-map. So... Badoink. Solid axle, coil spring, automatic, reasonable price, best 4x4 in the market, simple. That looks like a very large truck right there. There's a giant globe. Oh, there's a World on Wheels. Okay. Another monster truck. I said there's a monster, it's like a 300D Mercedes. Globe. Really? That's a globe? Alright, this is a weird place. There's like a castle in the background. I really want to see how big this Jeep is. Why can't I go there? Exit street view. Can I bring it? Can I bring it to... Ooh, I can. I can go right there. Sweet. Whoops, that took me right back to where I was. But the people are gone. But the giant Jeep is still there. This thing almost looks like the party barge that Jabba the Hutt was on when he died. Come on. Take me to places. There's the giant Jeep. I want to go right there. What the... Ooh. It's like Matchbox cars. Got some, What a weird place this is. Seriously, it looks like Jabba the Hutt's barge. It has a big Jeep. Except it's bolted in the ground. What the hell is this place, Jersey? Where am I? What in the world? Can we go inside? Nope. Oh, we can. Oh, a lot of square body pickups. These must seem like exotic, I guess, if you're in like Dubai. But got some Dodge Ram power wagons here. What in the world? What are you? You look like a cheese grater. Knife box. Alright, what a weird place. Weird place indeed. Jersey, I dig it. Okay, back to other things that everyone's like, why are we staring at nothingness and Houston is thinking it's cool? Okay. All right. Maximilius Decimus Meridius, are we not entertained? So we get 3 extra shares. No, you get 4 extra shares, Cannon. For every share you have, you're going to get 4 more. So that's the 4 for 1, because it's dividend. They're depositing 4 shares into your account for every one that you have, not 3, 4. So if you got 1 share, you will now have 5 when it's all done. Yeah, synthetics get split too. Not if it's a dividend. Synthetics don't get anything if it's a dividend. If it's just a natural split, they're just doing a 4-to-1 split where 1 share becomes 4 shares. Then yes, the synthetics will get split. But since it's a dividend, synthetics don't get anything. And that is the quagmire that we're in. That's why this is such a big deal, because synthetics won't get a single share of dividend if that's the case. Tristan Francis, Houston's GameStop seems to have announced the stock dividend on July 22nd. Thoughts on this? Would greatly appreciate it. Also, do you know why it won't let me super chat you? I have no idea. I don't even know how super chat works. I think you have to have a card associated with YouTube, and that's all I know. I don't know anything else about that, so I can't help you with the tech thing. But yes, so if the data record's the 18th, that means that any share that is lent out must be recalled before the 18th and be back in the account of the lending institution, so that they can get their dividends. If they don't have those shares, the short seller who borrowed owes them at least either the shares or the cash equivalent value of the shares. And if they take the cash equivalent value of the shares, then they can be taxed on that cash. So any institution that doesn't want to pay a boatload of taxes, like, $30 million in taxes or whatever, is going to have to get their shares back, because as long as they receive shares as a dividend, then they don't have to pay taxes on it. But if they get cash, they got to pay taxes. So that's the big incentive to get all that back. LeBeau Luke. Oh, crap. I was about to read LeBeau Luke, and then it reset on me again. Where'd it go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go, LeBeau? There you are. LeBeau Luke, CEO Gove, has bought 50,000 shares of Bed Bath & Beyond. All right. Invest in their companies. Phil Scribb, Sundial gets 41 million volume, doesn't move 1 cent either way. Brontal, Houston, do all the variations in the surface of Earth cause wobbling in any meaningful way? That's not quite where the wobbling comes from. Because when you get a differentiated mass, like something that was a molten ball of goo that then solidified in place as a nice gravitational hydrostatic equilibrium ball. And hydrostatic equilibrium basically means that the pressure going in, the gravitational pressure going in, is being sustained by the pressure pushing out, which in this case is electrons not wanting to pass through each other. So we are in hydrostatic equilibrium for the Earth, and makes this a nice ball. The sun is in hydrostatic equilibrium because gravity is pushing in and there's nuclear explosions pushing out, so it makes it a nice ball as well. The imperfections on the Earth's surface are like nominal. Mount Everest is 29,000 feet tall, but if we were to make like the Earth a mile thick Mount Everest would be a dime on top of it. It just like doesn't really matter that much. There are some places a little more dense than others, but again, that doesn't matter. The Earth because the Earth rotates actually isn't a perfect ball. It's an oblate spheroid, so it's a little bit wider at the poles than it is at the wider at the equator than it is at the poles, and that's just the centripetal force of it rotating, wanting to pull things outwards, fight against that gravity a little bit. But the wobble of the Earth is natural, and it's basically because things that spin don't ever spin perfectly. If you spin a top, it's going to have like a natural wobble of the pole of that top, and the Earth does that too. So our wobble is about once every 26,000 years, and as a result, the North Star will change. So in 12,000 years, Polaris will no longer be the North Star; it'll be Vega. As that wobble happens every 26,000 years, it kind of will do the spin through the sky, where different stars will be the North Star for us. And if you pay attention to like astrophotography, you'll notice that Polaris is about 1 degree off of our actual pole. So it makes a tiny little circle if you take like a long exposure of the stars moving across the sky. Okay. Colin L. Happy birthday, Houston. What's your prediction of the weeks to come? Well, you got two options. Option one, there is massive recalls of lent out shares that institutions need back, right? So there should be price action as those shares get purchased up. But there also might be massive naked shorting happening to keep the price down, keep FOMO from happening, because they know that T35 they could do some swaps or something. I have no idea what that does with the liability of shares. If you short a stock at $120 now, would you be buying back a stock later at 30? I don't know, but my guess is the stock won't be available to buy back. That they're going to buy so many that the price would remain at 30 very long. Prontal. Each company shareholder of record at close of business on July 18th, 2022 will receive 3 additional shares. So it's not a 4-for-1, it's a 3-for-1. Okay. It's a 3-for-1, not a 4-for-1. So if you got 1 share, you'll have 4 in the end. Okay. So everyone's saying 4-to-1, 4-for-1. It's 3-for-1. 3-for-1. That's where we are. All right. Only BLSP Black Death. Combined with the OPEX date on the 18th, this should be a rocket. Even aftermarket is rising good. Good, I bought a call before market close. Oh, I wish I had bought a call. I wish I had bought a call. Oh, I'll be regretting that one. But good on you for getting one. I should have. I'm a stupid fool who did not. Okay. Maybe get a weekly for next week. That might work. And P. Longstock, thank you. With a big thumbs up pear-shaped thing. Okay, where are we? Where was I? That was the Earth variations. Okay. Yep, now everyone's saying 3 extra shares. Yep. So it's a 3-for-1, not a 4-for-1. 3-for-1. 3-for-1. So if you've got 30 shares, you'll end up with 90 in the end. No, sorry, 120 in the end. Okay. Hassan Nabi Houston, do you openly advocate for violence again on Twitter? That I did. I told a bunch of guys who were angry that the South lost the war that we should just kill all the Confederates, and I got booted from Twitter. Oh well. Oops. Okay. I'll be curious to see what the price action does over the next 2 weeks. Now that we've got 2 Mondays from now, is going to be that date of record. Really interesting. Daniel Motes, question Houston, buying GME before split, date of record is good, yes. Can you explain why? Well, I mean, you get more shares. I mean, you could wait until after the split and buy up all those shares, but right now, the price is probably lower than it's going to be on the 18th, because if they announce the GME marketplace next week, then that should cause some FOMO for the price. Plus, you'll have possible recalls happening from lending institutions, which will cause more FOMO for the price. And then you'll have, after the dividend split, you'll have everyone who defaulted being forced to buy stock. So the price right now is probably lower than it will be at any time in the near future. Per share. Because if you buy 1 share and you really have 4 in the end because of that 3 for 1, then you're good to go. So that's why. That's why the data record is important. Okay. Oh, I missed super chat. Jose Rosario, since we know the split, what would be a good number of shares to get to retire? And will we see a dip at all from here on out? If MOAS happens the way we think it is, a few shares might be enough to go to retire. But if you want to play it safe, if you can get to 250 shares, end up with 1,000 in the end, and we get to $1,000 share price, there's $1 million right there. Put that in a Vanguard, you can earn a yearly income, like an average income from that. So the goal, I think, would be to get to 250 shares so that you can be at 1,000. And then if MOAS plays out but doesn't go as high as we think it will, then at least, you can tell everyone that you're a millionaire and go from there. That is sort of what I'm going to try and shoot for. I don't have the cash to get 250 shares, but I'll try to pack on as many as I can in the meantime. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay. FOMO starting already? Yep. So, Mermy TV, sell wife, sell car, sell house, buy a GME. If you can, it might be the best time to do it. Not financial advice, not financial advisor. Okay. Where's Big Dog? Big Dog's on the floor. He likes to sleep on the floor behind me. There's his butt. That's his butt right there. Oh, hi, Big Dog. I almost roll over your head. Sorry. Okay. Okay, where are we going here? Mike Green, what are you doing that's forcing your intro to play? OBS doesn't do this by default. There's a little eyeball, and if you click the eyeball, the intro turns on. If you click the eyeball again, then it won't turn on. If the eyeball is still on when I switch screens, I switch switch to like my scene where I've got, Google Earth or calculator or whatever, and I go back to Big Houston. If that eyeball is still on, then the intro just automatically turns on the minute you switch screens. It's I'm sure there's a way to fix it, but I don't know. I like to try and make myself remember to turn it off. It's like a mental skill, and I just fail miserably about a third of the time. Because, I have a dog that needs scratching while the intro's playing, and I totally forget to hit that button and turn it off. Okay. FJR Pilot NC must T+2, so must buy end of day on 7/16. No, end of day on 15, because 18 is a Monday. So it'd be end of day on the 15th in order to get that T+2. Stevie, Houston, what price will the GME dividend stock be? Will all the stocks be closing price of the day before a split, or will each stock be divided by 4 from previous close? my guess is it'll start out as 1/4 from previous close, and that's what we'll be looking at. Okay. The BitLord. Houston, this is my first time since over a year that I can listen live. Could you explain how the split dividend will impact the price? Please, I need some bias to buy more tomorrow. Again, like, the big deal is going to be all those that lent out shares. All those institutions who lent out shares for short sellers are going to need those shares back in order for them to get the dividends, the extra shares as dividend. If they don't have them back, then the short institution, the short fund, hedge fund, they can either pay the shares to the hedge fund, or they can pay the cash equivalent of those shares. And if the lending institution takes the cash equivalent, they have to pay 37% taxes on that cash equivalent. But if they just get shares, they don't have to pay any taxes on it until they sell those shares, which means they're probably going to want a recall. If I were a person at one of these big banks or a big institution like BlackRock or Fidelity or whatever, and I lent out shares, I would do a recall and get those shares back so I don't have to pay hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes. That would suck. So that may cause a lot of buying in the next 10 days, where short hedge funds are being forced to buy shares in order to close out their positions with these institutions, which can cause a lot of FOMO happening because people can see the price action going. They go, oh my gosh, the price is going crazy, and everyone starts buying in and buying in and buying in and buying in. Now, what we're waiting on is to see if they actually do recall those shares. I mean, if I were in charge, I would, but that doesn't necessarily mean they will. So, I'm hoping we're gonna see buying. That's what I think. Fast like a bear fitness. Are you a gamer? What types of video games do you play when you have the time? Do you think GME's dive into Web3 will pay off in the long term? Am I a gamer? I do play games. I generally play like first-person shooters if I'm just playing a game. But then most of the time, like on Twitch, I play GeoGuessr. I used to do like jigsaw puzzles because Twitch, like doing like something that's like calm and doesn't really require much like immediate time, and then I can read the chat and chat with people. If I'm playing a first-person shooter, then I can't at all pay attention to what's going on in the chat, and I lose all track of what you guys are what's happening there. I don't know. I like playing GeoGuessr because it's fun to see everywhere in the world, and it's also just calm and relaxing. I can just chat with people who are popping into the chat there. GME's dive into Web3. I think it will pay off in the long term. The novelty of like monkey pictures, I think, is over. And yes, you'll be able to mint those things in GameStop, but that's not going to be the moneymaker. The moneymaker is going to be minting video games that people can own and play and then resell. And the manufacturer of that video game can get a commission every time it sells. It's going to be being able to move skins or guns from platform to platform, game to game across that thing, or selling those special weapons or skins or prizes or whatever to someone who wants it. Basically, like when if I play Call of Duty, I don't give a rip about any of the special guns or anything. I don't care what I look like in the game. I don't care. So if I get, I got awarded this like 1 in 1,000 gun, I don't care. I'll gladly sell it on the marketplace to somebody who does care. I kind of have fun trying to play with the worst guns possible and seeing how well I do. Like if I can have a higher kill to death ratio with a terrible gun against a bunch of people who are like yoked and they've got all their fancy toys and whatever, then I feel like I'm actually the better gamer. I like kind of capping myself that way, and rise to the challenge. Like if I can beat you with a 9mm in Call of Duty, and you've got like sniper rifles and stuff, I feel better. I feel like I'm just a better gamer in general. So yeah, that's how I go. Okay. Okay. Loretta Franklin, does stock split apply to partial shares of GME? No. You will probably receive nothing. You might get a cash equivalent if you're lucky. It depends on your brokerage, but you shouldn't receive anything. Your broker will probably get the partial shares because what they do, you got 0.25 here, some guys got 0.3 over there, whatever. In the end, it'll all add up to one total share, and then the dividend will go to the broker. And that's their prize for selling you partial shares, I think. How I Met Your Moas. Houston, what is your predictions for GME dividend? Well, for once GME dividend is released. Once it's released, there will probably be quite a few people who don't get it. If there are as many naked shares as we think there are, there'll be quite a few people who I think won't receive it. And if they don't get it, then what they're going to be looking at is default on those shares. So if they sold naked and they didn't provide the shares for that dividend, then they're in default and they face automatic liquidation. Now, who is responsible for those? I don't know, because they've done so many swaps that it could be, some weird fund in Singapore or Brazil or something that is set up to be the fall guy for all this. They get liquidated of what? A bunch of other debts they have? They might have just been stuffing all their debts into one of these offshore accounts and saying, oh no, they have the responsibility, we don't have the responsibility. And when it comes to liquidation, there's nothing to liquidate. Which then would fall upon whoever the prime broker is for those groups. And if I were a prime broker for one of those guys, I'd be very leery of what weird offshore accounts and what kind of debts they have. And who knows if they can even see it. So, ideally, if they don't provide the shares like they're supposed to, because they made naked synthetics, they should get liquidated. And if they get liquidated, then they're being forced to buy and close those positions and provide enough shares. So then the price should skyrocket. But I am very curious to see as to who is stuck with what debt swaps and who's going to be responsible for that, because we have no idea. Because every 35 days they play a big game of hot potato and they move all that stuff around, musical chairs or whatever you want to call it, and so it's just constantly like moving from one group to another. So I'm wondering who's going to get stuck with that when the music stops. Bailey's, what price will GME go to by next Friday? Well, they have to cover before the 19th. They'll have to cover before the 18th, I believe. So probably that Friday, the 15th, they'll have to have everything in. We definitely need to see a pop into the 200s, just because they're going to announce the marketplace, and we got the FOMO from the split coming. So, I mean, I might still try to get like an in the money call if I can tomorrow. Maybe for 2 weeks out. See how that works. All right. David Morgan, I'm so hyped. Miss Missy, hey HW. Doing some road tripping with the boys this summer. May make a pit stop at Crater Diamonds. Any tips? So Crater Diamonds is a state park in Arizona. That's a Lamprite formation. There's only like 10 known Lamprite formations in the world. One is Crater Diamonds in Arizona. The other is Black Butte in Wyoming. And there's I have a piece of Black Butte up here. So this is a piece of Black Butte, Wyoming. This is Lamprite, one of the rarest rocks on Earth. Inside of it, you can see there are some crystal formations. I don't think I have anything. There's some obvious mica. I went looking for diamonds at Black Butte and I didn't find any. But I did find about 9,000 carats of peridot. I went anthill mining there. And the ants, they pull out any rock that's in the way of their tunnels and they just dump it on top and it ends up becoming sort of like shingles for their roof. And you can just scoop up all the crystals you want. There's some garnets, like pyrope garnets. These might be garnets. But yeah, so that sucker back up there. Anyway, crater diamonds. You can only use hand tools, which is a bummer because you have to just like dig and put it into a classifier and screen it through, so all the stuff falls out and you got to pick by hand. A spray bottle is probably pretty good. Spray off dirt. Diamonds, like when I go mining for diamonds, I take a gold dredge, the big giant thing that sucks up mud and dirt, and normally flows everything over a riffle box, and the riffles act like low pressure zones so the gold falls out and gets stuck in there. But I take all the riffles off, so I just have a clean sheet of metal, just a big like metal duct, and I cover it in a mixture of pig fat, Vaseline, and Crisco. So I mix up those three gooey fats, boil them together, and then I smear it in a thick paste all over that metal, and then I run all the material over it. And diamonds are hydrophobic, so if a diamond ring is nice and clean, you can put water on it and it runs around like it's been scotch carded because it doesn't like water. But diamonds love organic material like fat and grease, so lots of grimy dirt stuff will stick to diamonds pretty easily. So everything flows over that it's called slick plate. Everything flows over that slick plate, and then the diamonds themselves will stick to the fat, and all the water and everything else will run off. So at the end of the day, you can take a spatula and scrape all that fat into a pot, fill it with water, and boil it. And the diamonds will, once all that fat melts, the diamonds will fall to the bottom, and then you just let it cool off, and the fat will float to the top and recongeal, and you can use that the next day. And then pull that plug out, pour out all your diamonds. You can do that in other areas. You're not allowed to do that at crater diamonds. So the crater diamonds, you have to do it by hand and classify by hand. So bring classifying screens, colanders, whatever you like, and shake that stuff through. Bring spray bottles to clean off stuff because the diamonds may be covered in dirt. You gotta clean them off so you can see them. But that's it. You gotta do it the hard way, crater diamonds. But if you find a diamond there, they're worth a lot of money because they always make the news. They always do a press release to talk about the size of it, what the color it is, and then usually you'll get contacted by an auction house or something to sell it because they're rare. So yeah, that's what you should look for: colanders, spray bottle, shovels. Try to move as much material as you can, as fast as you can, and that's the goal. Okay. Let's see here. Eve Doster is a real-world explanation that can make the concept of kryptonite a thing. None that I know of there, Eve. none that I know of. All the execs bought Bed Bath & Beyond today, and that's probably see price action. How will GME Split affect Loop Ring? Honestly, I don't know. Loop Ring and Mutable X are being... Well, Loop Ring is the platform. Mutable X is the liquidity for the GME marketplace. I don't know specifically. Loop Ring might be traded a bunch as the monetary system for trades that happen in the GME marketplace. So if you're going to sell some purple shiny gun from your Call of Duty game to somebody else, they might pay you in Loop Ring coins to get that done. That seems very likely. So you'll probably see more practical use of those Ethereum-based coins like Loopring in that system. That'd be my guess, because that's in that layer 2. You have some Ethereum, you've got a whole bunch of Loopring, and a bunch of Immutable X. So those are the coins that probably be used to make the purchases. Scott Pollen, in one swift cut, 1,000 hedge funds just became insolvent. Antonio Martin, should we buy more GME before or after the split, and why? I mean, I'm going to try and buy more before the split if I can. And that's what I'm shooting for. Philip Chauvin Michard, even with the split, are you going to start selling your first share 100,000? I mean, if we have 1 billion naked synthetics out there, we are going. Let's go back to the calculator. Calculator. Gotta turn off Google Earth. Go back to the calculator. I'm gonna close you. Okay, so we've got 76 million shares right now, right? And we're going to add 3 more on top of that, so multiply that sucker by 4. We will have a float of 304 million shares, more or less. Correct? So 304 million shares is how big. Sorry, not the float, but how many authorized shares there are out there trading. Now, if there's 1 billion shares in synthetics in existence, then that billion is going to become 4 billion in liability. So we got 4 billion in liability of synthetic shares all of a sudden, who need to find out how to get how to use those 304 million, and we are at a 13 times so basically 1,400% shorted stock. For every 1 real share, they had to buy 13 shares to get that real share and close out positions. That still means that the price should scream, absolutely scream. So yeah, it may be something that the judge at the time, but I still think $100,000 a share is totally doable. It's just going to be even worse. It just means they have even more liability now than they had before. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad indeed. Okay, Bailey's got a few 175 calls for 15th. Good job. It's probably buying a weekly for next week is probably a really good idea. I wish I had done that. GameStop's still floating around 127 after hours. Wonderful to get a little. The after hours FOMO happens, and tomorrow we open up down. Maybe I can pick up another call that way. I think I might. Hamfingers, this split guarantee MOAS? I don't know if it guarantees MOAS, but it certainly makes it much more plausible. Much more likely. Combining with the fact that the entire market is going into a bear and shrinking is kind of perfect storm happening. Missy, Eye of Africa is a circle of erosion in the middle of the desert. There is more to it geologically, but that's the Webster definition. The Eye of Africa is a cryptovolcanic structure. So it is an ancient volcano that has worn down, and that's like what's the remnant of the sort of mass of the volcano. There's one that's similar that makes Big Bend State Park, Big Bend National Park in Texas. Is also a cryptovolcanic structure in the same kind of shape. Super Steve, Voyagers filed for Chapter 11. Yeah, a lot of those coins or those crypto exchanges, they're going to not exist anymore. I'll be interested to see what ones actually do survive this, because if every single marketplace and exchange and market maker for crypto gets eviscerated, how are people going to trade it? Like if Coinbase ceases to exist and Binance ceases to exist and 3AC ceases to exist and Crypto.com ceases to, if all these things cease to exist, how are people ever going to do their exchanges? I'm really curious to see like who survives, because at this point I don't see how any of them survive. they've lost 75% of their market cap in just like 2 months. That's wild. Went from $3 trillion to below $1 trillion since April. That's bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers. Crypto is kind of toast at the moment. Okay. No one juggernaut. Why is BBig not ripping and only dipping? Tide shares are being distributed and borrow rates are high. What doing? I don't know, man. I do think that if we're going to see any price action from BBig, it's going to be 3 months post the distribution date, which was on the 29th? 27th? Somewhere in there. And that's what we're going to be looking at. That's when the defaults start to come in, and that's when they're forced to buy. The Tide shares not being worth anywhere close to what they said they were going to be is a real big disappointment. Getting a share for $10 is cool. Getting a share for $2, not as cool. So yeah, I think that's my big disappointment. Was that it was not at all the price that was promised. Okay. All right, we got 600 of you in here. All right. Cool. Okay. William Morgan, Gru the Wanderer. Yeah, Gru is awesome. Heck yeah. I love Gru. Where is... Sorry, I thought I missed something here. Chris R to see the price movement for Tide. Tide plummeted yesterday. What did it do today? I have to go on my other account here and what's Tide doing? Tide did a crazy price movement today. What the heck? So right at the end, it shot up like what? 40% and then crashed right back down again. What the heck? What the heck indeed? Why? Okay. Jason5327, if you were to give financial advice, would you sell AMC and FOMO entire life savings into GME now? I mean, I haven't bought any new AMC in quite a long time. I have what I have, and that's it. I see GME as a way more prudent buy than AMC is. Sorry, people keep sending me messages here on my phone. Chill out, baby. I'll get to you afterwards. Okay. All right, talked about that. Charles K. Was a stock split mean for short hedge funds? It means they owe shares. Normally, during a normal split, your one share would become like 4 shares. And then any synthetic out there would become 4 shares as well. And so any liability would just become 4 shares but worth the same value. A dividend means GameStop has this pool of shares, and they go to the brokers and say, okay, you have this many legit shares there, this many legit shares there, this many legit shares there, and the brokers distribute those shares to everyone who has legit shares in their accounts. And anyone who doesn't have legit shares in their accounts needs to get those shares provided by the short hedge fund that is short on them, who created that synthetic. And if they don't provide those shares, then they're in default of their obligations as being a short seller, and they face liquidation. to basically sell everything they own in order to buy enough shares to make good on their obligation. Now, that's the margin call and liquidation we're waiting for. That's the stuff that DTCC refused to do in January 2021. There's 10 billion in margin that they're supposed to do margin calls on. They're like, let's just turn off the buy button and wait. And that is sort of where they were on that. This case, I don't think they can ignore it. I think it becomes a giant liability, too big to ignore. You can't go like, oh, we're just going to put our fingers in our ears for a day and tomorrow will be fine. This is the type of thing where if they put their fingers in their ear and wait a day, it's going to be twice as bad the next day. So they're going to have to actually follow through on liquidations in this case, or so I believe. Oh man, just reset again, you jerk. Stop resetting. I'm trying to read, not have to scroll back through and do this all over again. Okay, there's Crew the Wanderer. Okay, went through that one. Andrew Vanderhelm, sell my car, wait a few months, profit? Maybe. Unless you need to get places, and then that destroys everything. Okay. Kyle Tilton, will I receive shares for the ones on retirement account? You should, unless they're synthetics, and then you may have to wait a while before those appear in your account. The Asiatic, wouldn't the stock split cause dilution? It theoretically will, but we don't sell. So there's not going to be any more liquidity than there is now passing through the market. Kyle Tilton, you hyped for those James Webb photos releasing on the 12th? Yes. Aren't you stoked, monkey butt? Come here. Come here. Show me how stoked you are. Come on. Come on. Come up and say hi. Yes. Someone sent me an article that was the scientists who got to look at it started crying, which makes me think that we're resolving planets. What do you think, monkey? You think we're resolving planets? Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're resolving planets. Yes, we're going to see those extrasolar planets, and we're going to go, oh my goodness, I can see them so well. Oh, you love the neck scratch. She loves it so much. It's like the only spot she really likes being scratched. Everywhere else, she does not care. Right? You don't even have a spot on you where your leg shakes. All the dogs have a spot. You don't. Okay. Do you see this? This is Kyle Tilton. Do you see this affecting AMC as a whole, or AMC should I be hyped, in your humble opinion? Well, here's the thing about MOAS, is that the minute these hedge funds start to get liquidated to close out one position, then it means they're getting margin called on all their other positions. So anything that they've shorted on, they have to close positions on. And so AMC, Bed Bath & Beyond, BlackBerry, Mullen, you name it, all that stuff is going to have to get closed out because these hedge funds are going to cease to exist. And any of that liability that still exists is going to move on to the prime brokers, and those guys are going to have to figure out what to do with it all. And generally, they should have to close all that stuff. But as we saw from Archegos, like Credit Suisse still has $1 billion or more in liability left over more than a year later from liquidating those guys. And not says liquidating, just taking on their liability and being like, I don't know what to do. We don't have the cash on hand to close this out. So we'll probably see domestic U.S. banks and prime brokers getting bailouts. Foreign banks, it's going to be up to the central banks of those other countries. And in Switzerland, the central bank has been losing money, probably because of Credit Suisse. So we may be looking to see exactly how bailouts happen in other countries as well. Because, this is a global system. There's hedge funds all over the world that have prime brokers at banks that aren't American banks that deal in the U.S. stock market, and they're going to have to be like, well, crap, we got to bail out our banks because they're playing in a different country? This sucks. But you got to do it. Big ass Mexican. So what you're saying about the fart in a jar? If it goes into space, the fart particle will travel into space until theoretically, it could reach an alien in the snow part. Well, I think what you mean is basically you got fart in a jar. You open the jar, it's going to go, and it's going to basically bounce off of whatever surface it has, and it will continue on forever until it meets another medium. Whether that's a gravitational barrier, like another sphere of influence of a gravitational body, gets pulled into that, whether it bonks into another particle or ends up combining with a gas cloud somewhere. That fart particle is likely also to get hit by the solar winds and blown out of our solar system. So yeah, it could very well end up being sniffed by an alien, light years away, thousands of years from now. And that's just, think about bring out fart in a jar, open up in space, and just be like, some alien's gonna sniff my fart 10,000 years from now. And this is the butterfly wings chaos theory that's going to result in galactic war. Oh, Jack Teats. Okay. Po Tamao, do you think there'll be a vesting period on the dividend shares like Overstock did? I didn't see anything in the news about that, so I don't think there's vesting. I think immediately you just get those shares in your account and they're tradable that day. That's probably what's going to happen, for my guess. Okay. Now everyone's arguing over 3 to 1 and 4 for 1 what the language means. What it means is if you have 1 share, you're getting 3 more, so then you'll have 4 shares for that 1 you originally had. I think that's what they're going with. Missy. It's giving me coordinates. Where are we going, Missy? Oops, got to turn on the Google Earth. We're flying somewhere. We're flying to the United States. We're flying to the Midwest. We're flying to... Is that Crater Diamonds? It is Crater Diamonds. All right. This was a commercial diamond mine in the 1800s. Lamprite mines are the best mines to get diamonds of different colors. You can't get canary yellow out of here. So, look, hopefully you get a canary yellow diamond. I think the biggest one pulled out of here was like 8 carats, and it sold for, there's a canary yellow one, it sold for millions, I think. But yeah, so that's the Lamprite formation there. The Lamprite formation in Wyoming, oh crap, gotta remember where I'm going here. Okay, it's down here. It is near the Fort Bridger, Little America. There's a big power plant. It is the Kit Carson power plant. It's right by there. Shit. I remember, it's been so long since I've been out here. It's been like 10 years since I went to go dig there. Kit Carson power plant. Kit Carson. Maybe it's coal fire. Oops. Nope. Don't take me there. Don't take me there. You're in here somewhere. Oh, I'll just type in Black Butte. That's what I should do. Black Butte, Wyoming. What? It's not that far north. What? No. It's not that far north at all. Is it? Shell, Great Ball. Maybe it is. It does look like a lot of coal right there. I don't remember being that far north. I thought it was closer to Green River. Where am I? No. No. It's not that far north at all. It's down here. I thought it was called Black Butte. Ah, crap. Now I'm just going to be confusing myself forever. Misremembering where that thing is. Rock Springs. Point of Rock, Superior, Lone Tree. Oh, maybe is it Kit Carson? Is it Bridger Power Plant? Oh, Jim Bridger, not Kit Carson. I get those pioneers. Okay. Yeah, I think it's Jim Bridger, not. So there's that. You go north of there. Reliance. I think it was in here somewhere. I thought it was. I'm going to spend forever looking for this thing now, and you guys are going to be so bored out of your minds. Anyway, there's another Lamprite formation in there. We can hopefully get diamonds someday. I didn't get any out of it, but I only spent like a day digging ant hills. Sand Sapien sent me a 0. All right. Goose egg. That's where I ended up on that map. Okay. Okay. Liberty Bibbity, can you really gain 30 pounds of muscle 1 month? It's probably like 6 weeks. I'm started back up at the gym again. I do put it on real quick. I mean, I'm already up like 3 pounds since Saturday. So, I'm a weird dude. I can lose it just as quick though. If I don't go to the gym for a week, it is gone. When I got in my car accident in 2015, I was like 225, and I tore my trap muscles really badly, and I wasn't able to go to the gym for like 6 weeks, and I was back down to 200 in 6 weeks. It didn't take long at all for me to lose it. Went back to the gym, was back up to 225 by that November, so that was 6 weeks to get back up there, because I was end of September, in the middle of November, yeah. So I was back up to like 225 by the time I went to go film that November. Okay. Everyone's arguing about 3 for 1, 2 for 1, 5 for 1, 3 for 1, blah, 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 blah. Okay. James. Hi, Houston. Hi, James. Okay. Stephen Alexander, I believe Ryan Cohen is capped at 19.9% interest in BBB due to an agreement that the two parties came to. I thought that Ryan had refused such an agreement. That they offered that to him and to join the board and be capped at 19.9. He was like, nah. So, yeah. So that's what I think. But I might be wrong. If somebody has the agreement, send it to me. I'll gladly read it. Okay. James, Houston, what about short interest? Won't that quadruple as well, i.e. more shorting interest to pay for the borrowing of shares? What we may see is price action as a result of closing out positions, current positions. But we may also see a whole bunch of naked shorting happen. So, because it isn't a split, it's just one share, and you get 3 more as a result. If you short now, if you short at $126 right now, when that T35 date comes up, you may only owe $30 if the price doesn't scream too high 35 days from now. So they may gamble and try to suppress the price as much as they can while they're closing. Basically selling naked, using that cash to buy more, to close out positions. Selling naked, using that cash to buy more, close out positions. We may see some sort of weird dance happening as they desperately try to keep the price from like screaming too high. It's going to be weird. I think the next couple weeks are going to be very weird to look at. We might see just insane volumes, but the price doesn't budge that much. If that's the case, if they're just naked shorting like crazy while also closing out their positions. Okay. All right. No one juggernaut. Bed Bath & Beyond is ripping because Cohen is the king of chaos. Just Bodies, we're out here all the time with bare hands and Goldeneye. I did play quite a few matches where I just try to sneak up on people and just... Because, you had the one-hit version of the multiplayer, and it would really piss off your friends if you could do that. Or you do the knife pump thing. That was also fun. Number letters. Can crystal really block radiation? Depends on what the crystal is. And depends on the type of radiation. So if you've got like a lead sulfide, you can probably block lots of nasty stuff with that. But like a quartz crystal isn't going to do shit. A selenite crystal isn't going to block anything. So no. Unless you have like miles thick of it. Linda Wilder, any good things to say about Biden? You voted for him, Houston, and preach your liberals ways on here. Linda, I'm not a liberal. I am way to the left of liberals. So you're already wrong there. Biden isn't even a liberal. He's center right. Like if he were a politician in any other country in the world, he'd be a center right politician. He's just the left of Republicans. But no, Biden was my 18th choice out of the 21 people who ran for president Democratic ticket. He was not at all who I wanted. I didn't want him to run. I don't want any old people to run for office anymore. I'm sick of old people. Old people don't know how anything works, and especially a bunch of these boomers, they seem to really, 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 really love the status quo, and the status quo sucks. So they're not going to radically provide any change or make anyone's lives measurably better. But at the same time, they aren't going to measurably make their lives worse. They're not going to make policy decisions that are like, you know what, I'm just going to ruin 30 million people's lives right now. Doink! As the other side would do often. But Biden is pathetic and old and isn't going to do any of the meaningful change he needs, and he's going to get absolutely... And if he doesn't do any meaningful change, he's going to get his clock cleaned in November. So they've got 3 months to codify Roe, to get rid of the filibuster, to pack the court. And I don't think he's going to do any of that stuff because he's a whiner. And he's like, won't somebody do something? And he is the somebody who's supposed to do something. So that's his biggest problem. Jason Sharp, how the heck is a spy up $25 in after hours? You got me, man. You got me. I'm hoping we get a big old hit tomorrow, because I've got some puts that were so in the money yesterday morning, and I didn't sell. I should have sold. But yeah. Okay, where are we? 254. All right. Jad Haddad, do you think they'll just bump up the synthetic share printer 4x? That's that they're gonna try to play both sides. If the share recalls happen, they're gonna have to go out and buy. But if they go out and buy, the price screams. So they may flood the market with synthetics while also buying. Just flood, buy, and use those to try and close out their positions of the legit borrowing they've done. and then worry about the T35 later. I'm trying to think as evil as I can, as if I were some clown running a hedge fund. And to survive, that may be what I would do. But if they do that and the price action screams, then they just generated a whole bunch of liability that immediately results in them facing margin calls. So, and if they generate all those synthetics, and all those synthetics are now liable for 3 more shares at a later date, and then they get to the default range 3 months from now, and they're facing liquidations, they might survive for 3 months, but they just create a whole bunch more liability. And they may have to, they'll do the debt swaps and all other crap. It's going to be weird. It's going to be. I seriously trying to picture, like, how a forensic accountant would even unravel all this stuff in the end, and it just seems like it would be a nightmare trying to figure out and do. Okay. 4 Oracle. I DM'd you on Twitter a link to the pyramid stuff I was talking about. Okay. I'll take a look at that. Neil, what you think about Kenny Lying Boy moving to Florida and sudden Chicago press not liking Kenny Lying Boy? That's what happens, man. Because then the Chicago paper produced a thing about how Citadel Connect is screwing over retail. Didn't that get published today? It was them that published it, right? Right, Monkey Butt? You read that article, right? Yeah. Spurned lovers. Plus, his candidate for governor got absolutely just hammered. Ken Griffin spent $845 per vote for his candidate for governor, and he got like 3rd place in the Republican primary. And then the guy who won basically told everybody to just move on 4th of July after, like, within minutes of that mass shooting happening in Highland Park. He was asked about it. He was like, let's just move on. So he's going to lose. So there's no way anyone in Illinois is going to vote for that guy now. But, yeah. So Kenny Boyd's got some poor investments there. The mayor of Miami loves him, which tells me that the mayor of Miami is going to lose his election when he comes up for re-election, because you don't want to be associated with that dude. Ron DeSantis, a lot of folks are out there like, Ron DeSantis, woo, he's going to be the next nominee. His biggest donor is Ken Griffin. So if you are pro Ron DeSantis, you are definitely pro Ken Griffin, because every policy Ron DeSantis would do as president is going to be to make Ken Griffin as much money as possible. And that's his entire goal. So you got to look at these guys and go, okay. Ken Griffin is backing them. Why? It's because they are specifically going to make sure regulators allow Ken Griffin to steal as much money as he can from all of you as long as possible. And that's where your money's going to go, is to Ken Griffin's pocket. Andrew Stewart, where does DRS play into the upcoming volume spikes? When do they buy, sell? Will hedge use DRS2 to solidify their shares? Hedgies won't DRS. They want to get rid of their shares. The DRS folks, they're not selling. They put their stuff in DRS and they set it and forget it until the MOAS happens. That's the entire goal. They're definitely going to get their shares. They're going to be distributed out. They have to worry about having synthetics in their account and having to wait for a hedge fund to get liquidated before they get their shares. Yeah. So, but when it comes time to sell, how quickly will they be able to sell? That's what I want to know. They may inadvertently create an infinity pool just because it's going to be a slow process when the prices get to really big numbers. And I will take advantage of that if I can. JD Mac 10, so we will for sure get the dividend splits and Fidelity and Webull accounts. You'll get everyone who has it will eventually get the dividend split. How fast they'll get it, I don't know. I don't know. Because if it is like 10 to 20 to 1, synthetics to real shares, those synthetics will not get the shares immediately, because only enough shares to go out for legit shares will get them. So if you've got 20 shares in your account, one of your shares may be legit, and you may get it immediately without someone having to be liquidated to get shares for you. I'm very curious to see how that's going to work out personally. Tammy Thompson, can the market maker supply fake shares for those that are borrowed? No, because it's brokers that actually create synthetic shares. So the two ways synthetic shares are made is an institution lends their shares to a short hedge fund. So they've got 1 million shares, and they go, okay, you can borrow these from me. You must owe me dividends and pay, cost of borrow rate and whatever the interest rate is on this. So they lend them out, and then they get synthetic shares in their account. That's basically the IOU that was generated by that lending action. The other way it's created is a short hedge fund or a market maker sells shares that don't exist. So they sell 1,000 shares that don't exist and have no intention of giving over real shares for those sales. And when the clearing happens between the two brokers, so the brokerage that where the market maker is selling from, or the short hedge fund is selling from, they owe 1,000 shares to brokerage B, who is the buyer. And brokerage B is supposed to send cash over. So they're supposed to swap this thing in clearing. And what happens is brokerage B sends the cash over to brokerage A, and brokerage A doesn't send the shares over because they don't have them. So brokerage A has to look into all the accounts they have and find 1,000 shares and collect them all, and then pass those over to brokerage B to settle everything. And they create a whole bunch of synthetics in the accounts of their customers. That's where the T35 date begins. So brokerage B tells the market maker, hey, you've got 35 days to get me shares I can replace my customer shares with. And the market maker goes, oh, no problem. And he gets the T34, and the market maker ignores them and goes, yeah, we got T35. I'm not giving you shit. And the broker goes, oh man, Reg Show says I can't actually liquidate you. But if you're a short hedge fund who does that, you're a short hedge fund who sells a bunch of shares that don't exist, what you can do is you can take that debt, that T35 debt you're about to default on, and you go to somebody else who has that same debt, and you swap. And then it resets that 35-day clock, because you just signed new ownership, and it just reboots. Like, start right back over again. And that's the way those synthetics are generated. A broker should not be able to just put a bunch of synthetics in your account to make up for a dividend, because it's supposed to be legit shares paid out by whoever's short on that process. So they can't just be like, oh, well, we didn't get anything delivered from these guys, we're just going to put synthetics in here. They're supposed to immediately liquidate and say, we're going to sell off everything you have until you make enough money to cover all these shares you owe. And that's how it should work. And what we're going to see is that system actually going to play out the way it should. But they shouldn't be able to just create synthetics and replace and put them in as dividends in your account. That should not be happening. All right. Is that important? No, it's not important. Okay. All right. Project Sun Burry tweeting, Jimmy should do a 41 split for old time's sake. Create 40 billion in liability. That'd be awesome. Okay. All right. People talking about diamonds. William Morgan, I think they will stop us from layering plays. Maybe. They have a lot of power. We don't. All we have is buy and hold, man. That's our one play. only BLSP Black Death Houston, are you doing something history related besides your next diploma? If my TV show sells, it's going to be basically geology and history combined. So the idea of the show is every episode we talk about a different rock, gemstone, mineral, geologic phenomena. Talk about how the Earth made it, where you can find it, famous examples of it out there, and then it becomes a travel show where we go and get it. And we may visit ghost towns or meet, indigenous peoples, or, kind of experience the place and the humans involved in that place and who are involved in the extraction of that material. And when we get it, we might do something cool with it. So maybe it will be, getting a gemstone and making jewelry out of it. Maybe it will be obtaining something weird like titanium and making paint or a bicycle or whatever out of that material. So sort of, and we'll talk about the historical context of it. So it might be ballast rubies, which are really spinels, and the wars that happened and the invasions and British taking over India and how the Black Prince ruby made its way into Europe and eventually under the crown of the Queen and stuff like that. That's sort of the motif of it. Like, I want to connect people to what things are, how the Earth made it, where it came from. So that when they go to a store like Walmart, they don't say like, oh, product to buy. They think, oh crap, like this material came from here and was made there, and I want them to connect them to like how stuff gets made, man. It's everything we use is either grown or mined. Think about that. Like the Formica, mined. The wood itself, grown. Mouse, everything in here is mined. This glass of water, sucked from the earth. The sand that made the glass was mined from the earth as well. Like everything we use is either grown or mined. This shirt, grown. The buttons, mined. The pearl snaps, grown by a little abalone or something. Yeah, well, we're just gonna show you where stuff comes from, man. That's the goal. Okay. Plush TD, my son got me a mail text for my birthday. Where do I start? Where do you live, Plush TD? If you live by a beach, go to the beach, man. You'll find all sorts of cool stuff there. If you live like by a beach where lots of rich college girls go, you'll find bracelets and rings and necklaces and all sorts of stuff. If you are somewhere in the eastern part of the country, you can hit Civil War and Revolutionary War battlefields and find musket balls and bullets and all sorts of things. Buttons from Union uniforms or whatever. If you're out west, you can look for gold. You can go look for you can go to like where gold dredge came through and mellotech the tailings piles and find large pieces of gold that got washed off the classifiers. Yeah, there's all sorts of things you can do. Tell me where you live, Plush. Okay. Wheatwild, what will happen with all the shares that were DRS? Will people have to DRS the new shares? They should automatically end up in their accounts in computer share. So they won't have to worry about DSing more. They'll just appear in there. JB, Houston, do you have a JPEG you want turned into an NFT? I can get that done. I'll have to think about that one. I don't know. Okay. Seabound 117, not to be a Debbie Downer, but I expect them to pull tricks and GME down to $40 before split. Dude, I would buy so many shares if that was the case. Get down to 40, I can get to that 250 I need to be at 1,000 shares after the split. I would take it. Totally take it. Okay. Scrolling. Hey, I'm only 40 minutes behind, so that's good. We aren't too far behind, especially with nearly 600 of you in here. Because usually when there's 600 of you in here, I'm like 2 hours behind by this point. Okay. Oh, and there's the reset. Okay. Scroll back. We're about 2:30 p.m. in here. Everyone's still arguing about 3 for 1 versus 4 for 1. Reading the language, for every 1 share you have, you're going to get 3 more. So end up with 4 shares. So if you have 100 shares, you will now have 400 shares when it's all said and done. Okay? If you got 50, you'll end up with 200 shares. If you have 1 share, you'll have 4. 2 shares, you'll have 8. Okay. Since year 2 of 6, how is crime going to stop the dividend from starting MOAS? That's a good question. And I'm sure they're thinking of ways to get out of this as best they can. And the solution for everything they do is more naked shorting. Just short more naked. More. Do a debt swap, short some more, do a debt swap, short some more. And they just perpetuate the cycle of liability. Now, if while they're doing this, we get a big drop in the market, sometime between now and, say, September, they may lose their ability to naked short, and they may lose their ability to swap. Because all of a sudden they're going to be facing margin calls, which means they're going to have to generate liquidity. And the only way they can generate liquidity right now is to probably sell off more crypto. Because they can't sell a bunch of stocks and generate liquidity because it just drops the price even more, which puts them in even more trouble. So selling a bunch of crypto and using that cash to either bolster their ability to still maintain their margin, or if they can't sell off that crypto because no one has cash to buy crypto, then they're going to fail that margin and they're going to get liquidated. Once they get liquidated, they can no longer do debt swaps. They can no longer naked sell. And boom, one by one, it's probably just going to be liquidating stuff across the market. And then all those folks are going to see their assets shrink, and then they're going to get liquidated, and then their assets are going to shrink, and they're going to get liquidated. And the more that gets dumped on the market, the lower the price is going to get. The quantitative tightening from the Fed isn't happening. They apparently added to their assets. They didn't sell off the $42 billion they're supposed to sell. They actually added to their assets, keeping the market afloat. So this plunge protection team is working against the Fed and their quantitative tightening. And I think the Fed right now is realizing that they bought $7.3 trillion in securities that are now worth $5 trillion. And if they sell them, they'll make $2 trillion off of it. So they're going to lose $5+ trillion in trying to sell everything off during this bear market, which is going to make everything else drop. And they're just stuck. They're like, oh crap, if we sell this for a loss, we sell this for a loss. How are we going to, deal with that? The thing is that the Fed just prints more money, so they can just do that, which just cause more inflation and yada 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 yada. And oil's being weird. Oil had some big drops yesterday. What we do today? We red again. So, yeah, natural gas is still up, but every other crude is hovering around 100. Some's a little lower. So oil prices are dropping. Well, we won't see it at the pump for a serious long time because these guys are trying to milk us for everything they can. But it's funny. Bloomberg, I think it was Bloomberg said oil prices might hit $380, and then someone else said oil prices might drop to $68. Okay, so it's either going to go up to 300% or it's going to drop 50%. Thanks for that spread there. That really helps us guide through the future here. But if the market collapses, the oil's going to collapse with it because people stop traveling, shipments stopped moving. That's what happened in 09. March 09, gas was well below $2 a gallon in the U.S. after it had been over $4 just 5 months previous. Okay. A lot of talks about Cordell's here. JB says Credit Suisse might be closing soon. That would be absolutely terrifying for the globe if that happens. That'd be the first big institution to go, and that just means others are going to be facing the same brink. Andrew White, do you think the banks will do the same thing as Credit Suisse for GME and just hold the debt and never close, therefore never letting the price run? I think it's very possible. They did that with mortgage-backed securities. I mean, there's mortgage-backed securities still listed in the derivatives market from 15 years ago, right? So these 30-year loans, they're just going to be out there forever, just drifting around at pennies per share, and it makes me wonder who actually owns the deeds on those things. I don't know, because you'll see these mortgage-backed securities and stocks trading for Washington Mutual and Lehman Brothers, and those haven't existed since 2008. So I'm very curious indeed. Michael Ahero, Houston, if interstellar space is more dense than our own solar system, do things traveling slow down, and does that include farts? That's actually an excellent question. I think it would depend upon what the initial flow was that caused material to move through interstellar space. So if you have just a gas cloud that's just kind of mingling around, doing its thing, that's one thing. If you've got a supernova that exploded and it's expanding at 40% the speed of light and moving that material, like just hitting that material like a bulldozer, then those farts are going to move real quickly. It won't really matter what type of friction they're facing, because the blast wave is so powerful behind it, it's just going to push it, light years into space. And so eventually compress that cloud enough that you may get new star formation out from that pressure wave itself. So then your farts, released from a jar 10,000 years from now, if they get hit by the pressure wave of a supernova, could form into a new star that then you have nuclear farts. So if you're lucky, maybe your fart particle ends up in the disk around the star, and then forms a fart meteorite or asteroid that then becomes a planet made with your farts. So you gotta think about these things in the future as to what you're gonna do with your jar of farts in space. Brian Collins, go back to Blue Ridge, Arizona this weekend. So getting you that sandstone sample, right on. Cool. This is a gorgeous sandstone you had there, man. And a lot of it's exposed because all the water's disappearing. So you can see a lot more of it now than you could before. Okay. Sapien Houston, can you please link your antimatter dissertation? I didn't do my dissertation on antimatter. I did my undergraduate thesis on dark energy. I can find that. That was HONU is the academic journal. There we go. Oops. Shoot. Okay, I gotta click on. I gotta delete that. Shaboink. And this is the PDF of vacuum energy density paper that I did for my undergraduate thesis. There you go. I need to write a journal article about my dark matter thing and get that submitted to somebody. But yes, so you guys can go there I click on that, click here, turn on this one, and I gotta turn off Google Earth. Well, there we go. So this is my undergraduate thesis on basically what causes dark energy. You know, if you know like first year differential calculus, you'll be able to do the math here. But I made it short. I made it super short, and my thesis advisors did not like that. like I made it was 3 pages basically, and everyone else's thesis was like 70 pages. I was like, no, absolutely not. There's no reason to write 70 pages about it. You know, Watson and Crick won the Nobel Prize for a paper that was a page and a half. I don't need to put a bunch of filler in there and make it more complicated than it needs to be. Boom, they take this, and they actually read it, and they're like, oh, crap, okay, you get your degree. This is pretty awesome. I felt good about that. Everyone else wrote like 60 pages. I wrote 3. and that worked. Saying it Sapien, the super message chat wasn't sent. It says 0. I got a 0 there, Silent Sapien. I don't know if you want to do anything else other than that. But thank you for the 0. I appreciate that. JB says, I heard about this blue stone that can only be found on the island of Hispaniola, Dominican Republic, Haiti. Why is this only found there? It's called Larimar. I don't know about Larimar. What are you about? Oops. Why didn't you... Larimar. Nope. Lara. Oh, Larimar. I spelled it wrong. Larimar. Looks like a blue agate. Blue variety of silicate mineral pectolite found only in the Dominican Republic. It looks a lot like an Ellensburg blue. Oh, you guys can't see it because I didn't put it on there. So, images. So, yeah, this looks like a blue agate. It's pretty cool looking. It's got some nifty stuff, nifty things in it. It's got kind of a Paraiba copper tone to it. Wonder what the impurities are in it. Let's go back. So silicate, so it's quartz. No, it's not quartz. It's got calcium. Okay, so it is it's an silicate. So it's not a quartz itself. Pectolite. Acid silicate. So erupted within the limestones, the coast islands. So basically, you had limestones off the shore, and when there's volcanic activity, 10, 12 million years ago, the volcanic gases combined with that to make these silicates. Okay, so it's cavity filling. So basically, when there's a bubble, it combined with the calcium in the limestones to create these things. These things are cavity fillers. Okay. Huh. Well, cool. I don't know about those stones, but now I do. Armor, blue pectolite. Excellent. I learn something new every day, man. There's like 3,600 minerals out there, and I don't have them all memorized for sure. Damien Costa, just double checking. Date of record, July 18th. That means if we buy shares today, we get the dividend shares. Yes. You have to have them by close on Friday the 15th, I believe, to meet the date of record of the 18th. Okay. Another bluestone question. Oh man, you guys are going to be talking about geology today? Another bluestone question. There was this blue stone they found in Africa made mostly of oxygen. Your thoughts on how it could be formed? Tony Skystone. Okay, now I got to look that up. Tony Skystone. Andesite. No, this one says Bind Lake, Washington. That doesn't seem right. Okay. Okay, here's one from West Africa. Skystone discovered in 1990 by Angelo Bettoni. That looks like tanzanite to me. Seems a meteorite. Crashed in Sierra Leone. Local legends stated the stones were actually beings that once lived in the sky, disturbed by wrongdoings. God cast them to earth. So it's 77% oxygen, 20% carbon, and lime. Oh, you guys can't see what I'm looking at. I think this might be a hippie website that I'm on, but supposedly this is the blue color it is. Hence Skystone. It's color of sky. That didn't help me at all. I had to learn nothing from that. Skystone collectors. 55,000-year artifact, though. I'm going to have to look deeper into this because a lot of it's UFO stuff and hippie web pages. So, I don't know about it. I'll have to learn more, JB, to be able to figure out what the hell that thing's all about. Okay. Since year 206, what's to keep them from failing to deliver on shares? Are you talking about the dividends? What's to keep them from failing to deliver on that is that it faces automatic liquidation if they fail to deliver on those things. Oh, hi, big dog. Coming to say hi? Yeah? Are you just a big goof dog? Alright, I guess you are. Okay. Okay, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. So if I missed chats, I'm sorry. I only got a few minutes left. I do have to go and get ripped at the gym. That is my goal right now. My goal in the summer is to be like Buff Houston by September. So I got to go every single day. Today's leg day, leg and abs. So we're gonna tighten this up. So tight they call it Virgie, right? Right, big dog. Okay. Oil's being shorted. Better be. So Larimer is like petrified sea deposits. Well, Larimer is so you have volcanics that happen, lava flows, magma, stuff like that comes. And if you have existing limestone that's on top of it, that limestone will get melted. And when it does, it can basically be turned into a gas, and that gas might find its way into volcanic cavities from lava flows above it. And that gas is going to fill up those cavities and then start to crystallize as it condenses inside. So I think that's where the Larimer came from, was that some limestone got made too hot, turned into a gas, and then filled the cavities of the lava rock above it, and that's where they're digging the stone from. William McDonald, will this cause AMC to squeeze if GME squeezes? Ideally, yes. But GME is definitely going to be the catalyst in this case. CSWSGS, why is gold so valuable even though it is not tethered to US dollar anymore? Well, gold is a safe harbor. If the stock market's doing terrible things, you can always just invest in gold, and you can't generate more gold out of anywhere except by mining it, and that costs money. So you can't like make naked gold. That doesn't work very well. And did you just your little tutor? And that's a safe haven. It's just you just go to gold because gold remains gold and always stays gold and will never be anything except gold. It's a noble metal, so it doesn't like bonding with anything, or rusting or any of that stuff. And that's where the value of gold comes from. Gold has uses, but not that many of them. It's a great conductor, so it's awesome to like gold plate things because it will keep that electrical little node from rusting, but also conducts electricity fairly easily. And It's great for like use on the body for fillings or gold teeth because it doesn't react with the body, unlike other heavy metals that might be used. That's basically it. Electronics and teeth. Those are the two practical uses you have. And then it's great for storing wealth because it doesn't rust away. So, you know, you can get gold rings and gold earrings and you have the same amount of gold you started with. And that's the value. Gold is essential to wrap. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Never to retire. GME at 127.75 right now. Woo! Okay. All right, big dog. That's it. I gotta take you and the little dog for a walk, and then I gotta go get Buff. So that's what we're gonna do. Everybody, thank you so much. I will see you for Friday's show. I don't know if it will be a late night show or if it will be a daytime show yet. We'll find out. Well, whatever it is, it is. It'll pop up when it happens. Yeah. There we go. Okay. I'm going to catch you guys on the flip side. Enjoy yourselves. Have a great day. I'm going to click one of these and then take the dogs for a walk. Bing! Does a good shape.